Welcome to the third tutorial of BacStalk, where we would like to show you which data analysis capabilities BacStalk has. So after the first two tutorials in which we've shown importing images and assigning metadata, and cell and stalk detection, we would now like to go on through the analysis panel. So one can either do this here in the tab, or down here, step 3 analysis. So in this case we're using hyphomona cells with YFP fusion protein. So this is the analysis panel. So first of all, one can see the cell list. So in this case there are 293 cells present in this set, of which some cells are deleted either by the user or by BacStalk automatically, so we're left with almost 170 cells that we can analyze now. So here one has the table showing the information on the cells. So all the cells are listed, and one can see the different frames. So every image you upload has a unique frame, and then the cell ID is unique per frame. So one can see in frame number 2 we also start with cell number 1 again. Then we have some checkboxes. So first of all, BacStalk shows if cell is a bud. So we can see that number 2 is a bud, and actually we can just check this a bit more if we are showing only a subset of cells. So this is a really handy feature of BacStalk, where you can, for instance, choose to see only swarmer cells or cells with stalks with or without buds, but now we're looking at only buds, and indeed it shows then that all of those checkboxes are marked. So let's go back to all the cells, because then this can show that some cells have a stalk, so then the checkbox with stalk is checked. Here, this is a specific feature of the stalk budding bacteria, where the bud is connected to the stalk. So, and this can show you that cell number 1 is connected to cell number 2, which is its bud indeed. So let's have a look at this cell under show selected cell. So indeed we can see here, so cell 1 is assigned as the mother cell. This is shown by the straight line here, whereas the bud is shown by a dashed line. So as one can see, this cell here is the mother cell, it's a solid line, and the bud is shown by a dashed line. So what we can now quickly do is maybe delete this bud cell just by clicking on the number or clicking on the line. So let's delete it, and then we go to the analysis tab. And then we can show you that if you just quickly refresh, this cell number 2, which was a bud, is now removed from the analysis. But actually we like the cell, so let's go back, quickly select it again, and then we go back to the analysis and refresh. So then we can immediately see the length of the different cells in microns, and in case this number comes across a little funny, just make sure that you chose the right pixel scaling in the first input channel. So the stalk length is also given in microns, and then we have a track ID, since each cell is part of a unique trajectory. This then shows up through the different frames in a time experiment. Here we also show the mean cell intensity, so this is the average intensity at the YFP channel. In this case, if you have other channels, this is automatically updated. It's to show the different channels here. So you see there's still some open space here, and this is because there's many different possibilities. So you can select measurements and choose from quite a long list. So let's just highlight a few so one can see the cell area. Then there is a set of measurements that is associated with the brightest focus, which then is given for each channel that you imaged. So phase contrast in this case and YFP. And then for each one you see that there's 2 distances and 2 intensities. So in case you're following a signal that starts off in the mother cell and then moves into the stalk or into the bud, these 2 distances are quite crucial. So if there's only a spot in the mother cell and you're not interested in stalks or buds associated with this mother cell, you can always go for the distance A, which then gives you the distance from the spot to the pole of this cell, which is indicated by a yellow dot under the cell stalk detection. The intensity of this spot, which is by the way not just 1 pixel but average over a 3 by 3 pixel area, is given under intensity. If now your spot is moving into the stalk or into the bud, then you have to choose for distance b, because this gives you the distance of the spot to the pole in the mother cell. So this is good if you follow this, for instance, in a time series. So if one wants to know more about all those other options that are offered, you can always have a look at the documentation by clicking on this question mark over here. And in this case, all the information shows up under cell table. Just always have a look at the documentation, which has a lot of information. So then it's also good to know that you can sort based on all those different categories that are shown here. So for instance, on cell length, just click on cell length, and then it sorts from smallest to biggest, or the other way around. And then one can also filter the cell table. So in this case, if we would like to filter for cell length, we can choose cell length, and we would like to have, for instance, everything smaller than 1.1 microns. So we can then filter, and one sees also that we're immediately left with less cells, in fact 25 cells. And interestingly, it also shows up immediately here in the statistics. So let me show you a little bit more about the statistics of this entire cell collection, so all the unfiltered cells. So first of all, one can see the amount of buds. So it's a fraction actually, so 27.5% of the cells is a bud, 60% of the cells has a stalk. Then one can see the mean cell length or stalk length, also with the standard deviation. The median is also given, and the quartile values also. And then every other category that you choose in the table is also shown over here. So for instance, if we would be interested in knowing something about the maximum intensity value in YFP, we could have a look for that. We just add this here. It automatically updates, and then the maximum cell intensity shows up here. This was it for showing an introduction of the analysis panel. If you would like to know more about data visualization, please have a look at our other tutorials showing histograms, scatter plots, demographs, and chymographs.